For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live, because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube, the OBX Today Facebook page, and the Sam Walker OBX YouTube channel. Glad to have you along with us. Presented by Gallup Funeral Services. Back after the Thanksgiving holiday. Still got those leftovers you're taking with you today to work? Yeah, that's lunch today. All right, coming up here on the program, we've got quite a bit to get to, as always, and that includes, well, if you haven't seen it yet, the Eddie Green documentary. It is now available on YouTube. We're going to talk about that. We'll have the trailer from it, but this is a really, really neat thing that dropped on YouTube on Saturday, and we'll have a preview of that. Of course, also a little bit going on here with the holidays now officially here. Hanukkah starting last night, and everybody getting in the Christmas spirit as well. The Tacky Light Tour is back. Got all the details about that as well. Some of the headlines we didn't get to last week as well. That short week kind of does, you got all the news that we can drop right up until Thanksgiving and over the Thanksgiving holiday, and missed some of that stuff as everybody was traveling or getting the things ready for the family to come in, or just doing what we normally do here on the Outer Banks Thanksgiving. We'll see if this is the beginning of an off season this year. It sure doesn't look like it with the traffic we had coming down on Saturday. Looked like just about as much going south as was north. So another busy week ahead here on the Outer Banks. All right, let's get into the headlines this morning. We're going to start with the latest on the drought that is really, really starting to take hold across much of North Carolina. This is the North Carolina Drought Monitor map as of Thursday. And as you can see, all of eastern North Carolina, just about all of eastern North Carolina, is in the moderate drought, the D1 category. That includes all the Outer Banks, except for just a few little spots right up against the coast. And it's kind of hard to see. The map doesn't really get close enough down or zoom far enough down to really tell on Hatteras Island. But for the most part, we are well below normal as far as rain goes. We talked about this last week with our rain totals being far below normal, really since the 1st of September. In meteorological fall, which actually concludes tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of meteorological fall. Has been one of the driest in recent history, with quite a bit lacking of rain, except on Hatteras. Hatteras actually is above normal. Some of that has to do with what we had come through about 2 weeks ago and got almost 4 inches of rain down southern Hatteras Island. And you see that same kind of reflected in Carteret County and down in Wilmington and Brunswick County and New Hanover County. They're in the yellow for abnormally dry. They've had a little bit more rain. But what we're really concerned about is the amount of wildfire activity that's starting to pick up. The latest from the North Carolina Forest Service headed into the holiday was that we had seen almost to go from very few to, if any, wildfires across the state that were classified as wildfires. That number has exploded in the last really 2 weeks, but really the trend had gone. It was almost 200 wildfires have been reported as active on Wednesday, which is the last date that they had updated that map. There is one big fire that's getting a lot of publicity. That is out in the Pilot Mountain area, and WXII has been on this story since the beginning. We've got some of their coverage of that right now.
Good evening, everyone. We begin in Surrey County, where a huge fire continues to burn on Pilot Mountain. It's grown considerably since it started last night. WXI 12's Ford Hatchett is live near the mountain with the latest on conditions now. Ford?
Yeah, good evening, Christine. Since the sun has gone down here this afternoon, that cloud of smoke coming up from Pilot Mountain has grown larger and larger, and you can see the orange glow behind us as well. North Carolina Forestry Services now says this fire covers more than 200 acres.
On the mountain is simply not an option right now. We're going to use those dozer lines, and once everything is prepped and all those structures are triaged, then the firing operation will begin.
There's still more than 30 firefighters on the mountain being aided by air support from helicopters in the area. But because of current weather conditions and dry leaves on the ground, water from the air can only do so much to slow the burn.
The dry, windy conditions, especially during peak burning hours during the middle of the day, causes very extreme fire activity.
Henry Fansler was volunteering as a campground host at Pilot Mountain this month. He got word of a fire last night and returned this morning to evacuate his trailer. He described a quiet scene on the mountain with an odor of smoke he won't soon forget.
I want to be home. I don't want my family to worry about me being up there, but yet I'm concerned about the folks left behind fighting the fire.
Jimmy Holt with North Carolina Forestry Services says the community should avoid the area and is asking folks not to fly their own drones in the vicinity of the mountain.
TFR, temporary flight restrictions on the area in a 5-mile radius, so no private drone activity, no private aviation. If there is any detected, then our aviation is grounded for several hours, and firefighters' lives and structures are at risk when our aviation is grounded.
And Holt says that he expects crews to be on scene here for at least the next several days. And here at Pilot Mountain, they are very concerned. The next challenge is going to be protecting those structures and homes down at the bottom of the mountain. Live in Pilot Mountain, Ford Hatchett, WXII 12 News.
All right, so there you go. That's coverage from our friends at WXII out in Winston-Salem of a situation going on at Pilot Mountain. And I brought it up really because that is such a visible area. A lot of folks will head out, especially head up to the Midwest by way of I-77, but cut across from 40 to 77 by way of US 52, and it goes right by Pilot Mountain. Of course, you can see Pilot Mountain from Winston-Salem just about. I could see it from my perch in the press box at Truist Field there at BB&T, or what was known as Grove Stadium, where Wake Forest plays football. You could see it when I was doing PA for the Demon Deacons back in the late night or early 2000 in fact. You could look off to my left and see it just look out the window that was to my left. I could see Pilot Mountain. Anyway, it's a very visible spot. So pretty amazing pictures we've seen coming from that fire over the last couple of days. So that is a big concern, is the wildfire threat. Yeah, you know what? Actually, let me go back to our display here. You can see some of these pictures. Really impressive. Some of the photos that have been posted of this fire over the last couple of days. It started on Saturday. And, of course, that big concern for us is, of course, a wildfire threat out on the Dare County, Hyde County mainland. Because of this drought, seeing these drought conditions continuing to get worse. Big concern that we could see some fire activity out in the wildlife refuges. And of course, we know what that could mean as far as smoke issues, especially on southwest winds. Right now, nothing reported down there, but something to keep in mind, especially if you do plan to do some outdoor activities, burning. We got hunting going on right now, so a lot of activity going on in the wild, and that always gives a possibility of causing fires to wildfires. So we do want to keep that in mind with these very, very dry conditions. Speaking of fires, yesterday down at White Store in Mans Harbor, dumpster fire. No, we use dumpster fire as a meme and on Twitter, Facebook, just but no, a true dumpster fire yesterday. Here's some images, image from the Mans Harbor Fire Department yesterday of them putting that fire out. It's happened sometime yesterday afternoon down in Mans Harbor, right along 64. That dumpster actually was rather close to a building there at White Store, and that was one of their concerns, was that it could spread to that building and then spread over to the store itself. But they were able to put that out so rather quickly, get it under control, and then it took a little while to put that thing out. But no injuries reported, no issues, no damage other than just the dumpster being on fire there at White Store in Mans Harbor. This week is going to be what could be the final virtual meeting or update meeting on the Rodanthe Jug Handle Bridge project. The meeting is going to take place Thursday. There will not be an in-person session. It is only going to be a virtual meeting, online only, Thursday evening. Starts at 6 o'clock, and the bridge is nearing completion. 2.4 mile bridge that stretches from Rodanthe up to the north of Merlo Beach and S Turns, bypasses all that area that's been a long problem with overwash, and that bridge is expected to open sometime next year, early next year. It is. In fact, Kerry Hooper with Junior with Hooper Photography Solutions with this photo that we've got up on the screen right now. They're getting close. You can see the trestles here are the only places they're working really right now on the actual bridge superstructure. Last time, right back at the beginning of November, it was all that was left was the last section of cross beams, or last section of girders that had to be placed. And that probably has been completed by now. The DOT hasn't said so, but they'll probably tell us at the meeting that it has. And then once they get the bridge deck on, get the rail, they're very close to completing this thing. Of course, last week, a week ago Friday, traffic started using the traffic circle there as you come into Rodanthe. So things are progressing well on the Rodanthe Jug Handle Bridge project. And as I said, they are anticipating getting that open early next year. Don't have a date yet, but might get a closer idea on a date with Thursday's meeting. Get the links at obxtoday.com on exactly how you can participate in the meeting, because they will take questions in advance for this online meeting. But you can also watch it, and we got our links up at obxtoday.com. Before we get out for a break, a couple of headlines from last week that we didn't get to on the show. 34-year-old Pennsylvania man will serve at least 5 years in state prison after pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter for the death of his 5-month-old son while they were vacationing in Kerala back in the summer of 2018. Happened in July of 2018. Franklin Thomas Emschweiler was taken to Children's Hospital of King's Daughters in Norfolk after he was reported not breathing. He died 5 days later. His father, Thomas William Emschweiler, will serve between 60 and 84 months in state prison after pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter. He's already served just over 90 days in the Currituck Detention Center after he was arrested, or rather after he was indicted on felony child abuse on July 20th of 2018. Those charges were upgraded to murder back in September of 2018. So that has been adjudicated, a case there of a child who died at the hands of his father in Corolla in 2018. All right, more of OBX Today is coming up here on Facebook and YouTube, presented by Gallup Funeral Services.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
Our pet of the week for this week is Snowflake. This handsome boy is just over a year old and super playful. He was brought to us when his owner could no longer care for him. Snowflake's favorite hobbies are sunbathing, batting toys around his kennel, and learning to parkour. He can live with an older dog and seems very interested in other cats. To adopt Snowflake or foster one of our other animals, you can visit us Monday through Saturday at our shelter located in Manio. This month is Adopt a Senior Pet Month here at the SPCA, so come on in to bring a senior pet to their new home and love forever. For more information, visit our website at www.obxspca.org or visit our OBX SPCA Facebook page.
Back here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube, presented by Gallup Funeral Services. Beautiful day out there. Kind of chilly. Temperatures in the mid-40s right now. Not going to get much warmer than that. And a little breezy, too. Very wintry-like on this next to last day of meteorological fall. And we'll get to the OBX Today Weather Center forecast in just a few minutes. A group of 31 North Carolina and South Carolina legislators have joined in a letter laying out a path to overturn the 2020 election and reinstate Donald Trump as president. That includes 3 members of the local delegation to the General Assembly. The letter calls into question, backs claims rather, that have been repeatedly proven false, demands nationwide audits similar to one conducted in Arizona that found no evidence of problems with voting there, and other states already do those audits anyway. It also calls for President Joe Biden to be ousted from office. Senator Bob Steinberg of Edenton, Representative Bobby Hannig of Currituck, and Ed Goodwin, representative from Edenton, among lawmakers from 39 states that have signed that letter. Another provision in the state budget has surfaced, or at least been reported on, a paragraph deep in the North Carolina state budget that was approved earlier this month by the legislature and Governor Cooper, forbids sheriffs, police departments, and any other government entity in North Carolina from creating a public log of the times officers kill or injure someone. The so-called critical incidents are going to be recorded statewide for the first time in a database that the General Assembly authorized earlier this year as part of policing reforms contained in Senate Bill 300. But that database is for law enforcement to use in an effort to weed out problem officers and will not be made available to the public, despite a push from advocates who view public scrutiny as a key to police reform. The U.S. Supreme Court says that it will take up a motion to intervene request from North Carolina legislative leaders in one of the state's lawsuits over voter ID requirements. The announcement flew under the radar, happening on Wednesday, and on its face it may seem minor. A motion to intervene is essentially the formal way for a person or group to say, we weren't sued in this case originally, but we think we should be involved anyway, so please let us in. So the Supreme Court won't be ruling on the big question of whether North Carolina's voter ID law is unconstitutional, just on whether GOP lawmakers can be part of the legal proceedings happening now in lower courts. But because of a new law just passed in the state budget earlier this month, whatever decision the state Supreme Court ultimately reaches could actually have major implications for future elections in North Carolina. Tucked into the political bill is a provision that takes away power of the executive branch agencies and Attorney General Josh Stein to settle lawsuits involving them if the legislature is also involved. It gives House Speaker Tim Moore and Senate Leader Phil Berger the final say on whether a settlement can go through. Democrats have said on numerous occasions the change is an unconstitutional power grab. But pending any court intervention, it's the law now. So that means if the Supreme Court does allow Republican lawmakers to intervene in the case, they can block any potential settlements that might eliminate or soften the state's voter ID law. They'd be likely to do so since they're the ones who wrote the law in the first place. Other news to talk about here on this Monday morning. Cape Hatteras National Seashore staff recently installed an educational panel at the Salvo Sound Access, also known as the Salvo Day Use Area, in an effort to help visitors understand the importance of the nearly 150-year-old cemetery that has been eroding in the past in the Pamlico Sound. The sign gives a brief history of the community and asks visitors to respect the small community cemetery that was established in 1872 south of Salvo. And efforts were done over the last couple of years to shore up the shoreline there with bulkheading and such. And this is a popular spot for folks to visit, not only for because of the cemetery there, but it's got bathrooms, very good soundside beach access. So if you go by there, you're down on Hatteras Island, and go check that out and learn more. There's also up what's called Just Tide and Time, which is a photo exhibit that's along the fence line that surrounds the cemetery that was put together by Justin Cook. You can check that out at obxtoday.com. All right, let's see. We will step aside, and when we come back, we've got a preview, if you haven't heard, about this documentary on Eddie Green. We're going to talk all about that coming up after this from Gallup Funeral Services here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
This week's Champion for Children is brought to you by Children and Youth Partnership for Dare County, helping families thrive. The Outer Banks Women's Club has been identified as a champion for children. President Jean Pratt, can you tell us a little about what your club does to help children, youth, and families thrive in our community?
The Outer Banks Women's Club was formed 50 years ago with the goal of working for the betterment of the community and the preservation of the beauty of the Outer Banks. The first project the club women were involved in was building a youth center, recreational youth center, and they spent 10 years working with the community and raising funds, and they raised a lot of funds. They worked with organizations like the Children and Youth Partnerships, and in 1996, the Parks and Recreation Center was opened. We are probably best known for Angel Gift, which was started in 1987 and continues to this day. In conjunction with Dare County Social Services, who identify the families, and with the generous contributions of the community, we are able to deliver toys and gifts and clothing to the children in need in Dare County. For 47 years, we have awarded numerous scholarships to high school students who are going to college or community college that are North Carolina state schools, or to women who are returning to college after many years. A few years ago, we started the Books for Babies program with the Outer Banks Hospital. The club buys board books for the hospital that gives them to the new parents in the hope that they will read the books to their children and nurture a lifelong love of reading. 2 years ago, we started a program giving support and supplies to a new teacher in one of the local schools. This year, we expanded the program to support a local school librarian in addition to supporting another first-year teacher. The club has helped with tuition support for students interested in science to attend summer courses in Wanchese at the Coastal Studies Institute. We have also provided funding to help first flight students, journalism students, attend a regional conference. The club women donated diapers to the children and youth partnerships 3 times during the pandemic. We also sponsored a Kids Fest Pirate Event Day last May with the Children and Youth Partnerships. The Outer Banks Women's Club is part of the General Federation of Women's Clubs of North Carolina, and every year we sponsor local student artwork and literature to local, district, and state levels. Over the years, many Dare County students have won awards for their work. The club women donate time, money, and in-kind goods to many organizations on the Outer Banks, including the Beach Food Pantry, Food for Thought, Children and Youth Partnerships, Interfaith Community Foundation, Dare Arts Council, Dare Literacy Council, Dare Education Foundation, Saving Lives Task Force, and Hotline.
Do you have anything special coming up that you'd like the community to know about?
The Angel Gift Program for 2021 is underway. We have finished interviewing the parents for what the gifts are that they want for their children, and this year we have over 260 children in the program. On November 5th, we started putting angels on trees set up in Walmart, Publix, OBX Chevrolet, the YMCA, and Manio. And these trees will be up until November 29th, the Monday after Thanksgiving. Members of the community can take one or more angels off the tree, buy the gift, and bring it to the Bomb Center between November 30th and December 4th. Or they can donate money by check made out to OBWC and mailed to OBWC, Post Office Box 102, Kill Devil Hills. Or you can go online to our website, www.gfwc-obwc.com, and click on the donate button. The people of Dare County have always been very generous to this wonderful project.
If someone wants to get involved with the Outer Banks Women's Club, what should they do?
You can contact us using the contact button on our website, www.gfwc-obwc.com. Or you can email us at gfwc.obwc.nc@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call and speak to someone or leave a message at 252-284-4040.
If you would like to nominate a person or group to be a champion for children, please contact CYP at 252-441-0614.
Back here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube, presented by Gallup Funeral Services. I'm Sam Walker. Glad to have you with us on this Monday morning. Over the weekend, actually on Small Business Saturday, and rather appropriate that this happened back in June. A standing room only audience called for an encore at the previous showing of Christmas Every Day, The Wonderful Life of Eddie Green. It was at the Dare County Arts Council. That was followed by a showing of the final cut at the Pioneer Theater in downtown Manio in September that featured new interviews and changes based on audience response. Now, the story of a man who fell in love with the Outer Banks and the community has loved him return is available for full viewing on YouTube. The documentary, again titled Christmas Every Day, The Wonderful Life of Eddie Green. Again, coming out Small Business Saturday, a perfect date since Green may be best known to millions of Outer Banks visitors and residents for co-founding the Island Gallery and Christmas Shop in Manio in 1967 with Richard Lasser. Green retired after 48 sparkling years with the Christmas shop, lives today with new owners that continue to honor that legacy. They did so with a Facebook post on Small Business Saturday. And like I said, the new documentary is out. Brian Jones putting this together through his production company. And it's really a well-done documentary. If you haven't had a chance to see it yet over the weekend, you can go to obxtoday.com right now and check it out in full. I've got right now for you just a preview of this documentary. let's unmute your mic here. Hey, sorry about that. I was trying to explain that trailer that we just saw for the documentary was produced before the showing that took place at the Pioneer Theater back in September, and has since been posted on YouTube. One of the reasons why, unfortunately, we're getting word that Eddie is not doing well health-wise, and that was one of the reasons why Brian Jones said he wanted to get that out here ahead of the holidays, a chance for everyone to enjoy it as we head into Christmas, and our thoughts with one of the greats of the Outer Banks, one of the legends, Edward Green. So you can check that out at obxtoday.com. You can watch the full movie there, the full documentary there, or you can click on the link that we've got for you. It takes you right to YouTube and watch it on any device. I would suggest putting it on the big screen like we do here at the house. Watch so much stuff on YouTube now that way. So take the time. It's about an hour and 20 minutes or so. So really, it's worth it. Every second of it. Watched it on Saturday. And Brian did such a wonderful job about that. And with that, he talked about, told us on Saturday when we did our story that his inspiration just came from one day he was working at the Christmas shop and realized that Edward was a New York Yankee, a Jewish guy with a Christmas shop, and both locals and tourists loved him, not liked, loved, and I did too. And one of the things on his list of 90 things to do was make a documentary, and that's what I do. And it became Tuesdays with Eddie, as Jones called it. One of the things on his list to make a documentary. And Green says, I can't imagine my life without the Outer Banks, and it's hard to imagine the Outer Banks without Edward Green. So check that out on obxtoday.com. You get a chance, you can click on the YouTube link and watch it anytime you want, on any device you want. All right, as we roll on here on this Monday morning on OBX Today and live on Facebook and YouTube, just a reminder, the Tacky Light Tour is back for another season. We have got everything you can imagine Christmas-wise. Give me a second here. I'm going to get this so it's a little bit different look to it. Yeah, there we go. All right, just doing some screen adjustments live with you. I like how we can show you so many different things, and I can show you the website at the same time, not take away, because I know most of y'all don't want to look at me. Y'all want to look at that ocean out there. Live shot from Avon, by the way, in case you're curious there. That looks better. Let me turn my camera off. I had radio guy on TV. Why? So the Tacky Light Tour is underway. Here's how it looks. And we've got a couple more places have been added. And the biggest thing that we've got now is this map, which really gives you an idea, if you're not familiar with the area, where all the different light shows are. It's an interactive map. You can pull it up on your phone. We're trying to figure out a way that you can import it into Google Maps directly and track and do a route. I haven't been able to get it to work that way I want to yet. So we're working on it. That's one thing that we always do with the Tacky Light Tour. We're always making adjustments to it and adding new houses that we find out about. You know what? I need to get the no-say lights, road lights up in South Mills, up here north of up in South Mills, north of Elizabeth City. I need to get them on there. Just realize that. And there's so many other different places. I mean, we got places in Weeksville. We got the Hoggard family lights out in Windsor on there. And of course, all the different displays, the Mans Harbor Post Office and the Downtown Manio, Elizabethan Gardens, the Minicucci House, which is our featured house this year. And even the Corolla Christmas house, and details about what's going on in Corolla itself with Twitty and Company with their Corolla Christmas Village. They've got that going on this year. So, all the different displays, all the different descriptions in there with the different pictures and video that's been provided, all this great stuff. It's up, the Tacky Light Tour underway right now at obxtoday.com. All right, more OBX Today Live, presented by Gallup Funeral Services, is coming up here on Facebook and YouTube, so stay with us.
For
This
over
week's
15
Champion for
years,
Children is
Gallup
brought to you by
Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
All right, back on OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube. Time for some sports. Unfortunately, the high school football season here in northeastern North Carolina has come to an end much sooner than we had hoped and much sooner than we kind of expected. Northeastern knocked out of the 2A playoffs on Friday night, losing to Wallace Rose Hill 57-22. Northside, they rallied back from being down in a deep hole early. Got it within a touchdown, but could not pull off the come-from-behind win against Pender, 34-28. So all the locals out by the fourth round in high school football playoffs. So now the concentration goes to basketball. Season already getting underway and really gets underway this week in earnest. Cape Hatteras has Currituck tonight. Mattamuskeet will be playing Eastern Christian Homeschool in Little Washington. And Beargrass Charter is at Lawrence Academy. NFL yesterday, it was Miami over Carolina 33-10. Late game was Baltimore 16, Cleveland 10. Tonight, Washington hosting Seattle. College football, East Carolina will play in the Military Bowl in Annapolis on December 27th. Bowl bids are starting to be finalized. Next week is when it really will be finalized, with after the conference championship games and the college football playoff rankings are finalized on Sunday. Then we'll see what all the bowl games, who's going where this year. But already East Carolina is going to the Military Bowl in Annapolis, and they've already done a pretty good job selling tickets. Of course, Wake Forest will play Pitt in the ACC championship game in Charlotte on Saturday, and they've already sold out. Wake's already sold out its student allotment. So there's a lot of demand for it. Although some would say, they'll barely fill that stadium in half. Might surprise you what Wake Forest fans will do with their third trip to the ACC championship game. David Cutcliffe is out as coach at Duke after 14 years. Cutcliffe and Duke University working out a deal for him to step aside after this season. Went winless in the ACC, have really struggled after Cutcliffe did a phenomenal job of turning things around in Durham football-wise, and it's just hit a rough last couple of years. So new blood coming in to Duke. We'll see what happens there. College basketball tonight, the ACC Big Ten Challenge begins with two games. Iowa is at Virginia at 7, and Notre Dame plays at Illinois at 9 o'clock. NHL, it was Carolina falling to Washington 4-2. Hurricanes returning back from a pretty successful 6-game road trip. They got 4 wins out of that trip. Actually, 5. They got 5 out of 6 on that 6-game Western road swing that also wrapped up in Philadelphia. Then dropped that decision to Washington yesterday in Raleigh as the Hurricanes back home after that extended road journey over the last 2 weeks. All right, OBX Today Weather Center, and we are looking at last 2 days of the hurricane season. Anything to talk about? Anything to talk about in the tropical weather updates? Nope. Not at all. Dead quiet. We are going into winter with a we haven't had a named system since Wanda at the beginning of the month. And we're going to stay that way. Absolutely nothing out there. So it looks like we won't get into the auxiliary list this year. But we did use up the list for the second straight year of names in the hurricane season. That's good. And we'll wrap that up. We'll have a story with all the particulars on how hurricane season went coming out for you. On, we'll do it Wednesday, since the first is on Wednesday. Why not? Tomorrow being the last day. I might do a little teaser story with it. All right, so the OBX Today Weather Center forecast for today. It's clear. Well, we got some clouds out there this morning. They will be moving offshore as we get into the afternoon. It's going to be chilly, though, with a high barely reaching 50, and with the wind chill, it's probably going to feel like it's still in the 40s, with northwest winds 15 to 25, gusts up to 30 at times. Clear tonight, let down to 40. Northwest winds at 10 to 15, gusts to 20. Tuesday, sunny, a high 55. We'll switch back to the southwest on the winds at 5 to 15. Tuesday night, clear 44. Wednesday, sunny and 60. Up to 67 on Thursday. Friday, 66. It's all sunny. 63 Saturday, then another dry cold front coming through Saturday night. And we'll get back down to around 59 on Sunday. But no mention of rain in the forecast. We're going to wrap up November pretty far down on the rain that we need, except for Hatteras. It's going to be above normal for November, but the rest of the area and much of eastern North Carolina, as we talked about at the top of the show, in a drought, and this drought really starting to take hold. Coastal Marine forecast, small craft advisory, don't go out there today. We got 2 to 3 foot waves in the sound, seas 5 to 8 feet, northwest winds at 20 to 25 knots. Water temperatures, 55 on the north beaches, 60 on Hatteras Island, 55 on the sound side, but it's probably colder than that if you get into the more open waters. Next tide change in Oregon Inlet's a low tide at 9:05. Sunset tonight at 4:48. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:52. Right now we've got partly sunny skies, 46 degrees outside the studios in Uptown Nags Head. And that's going to do it for this Manic Monday edition of OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker, presented by Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Thanks for joining us. Back with you tomorrow. We'll have Jessica Sands from the Dare County Arts Council. She'll stop by tomorrow to talk with us, give us an idea of what they got coming up here. First Friday is this Friday in Manio. And, of course, Manio's got the Christmas parade, all the other fun stuff that's going to be on downtown Manio this weekend. Jessica's going to be here to talk about what Dare County Arts Council has coming up as well. So have yourself a great Monday, everybody. We'll see you.
A simple binary code transmitted by carrier wave signal. Radio.